Calling all you ambitious, overachieving, bossy, I can do it all. Don't bother me. I got this. Type A women. This podcast series, Healing the Hustle, is for you. Hey there, it's Jessica Butts, front seat life all the way, same butt kicky lady, just in a new chapter, and I'm so excited you're here. We're going to take a journey of healing the hustle as we are more than a year into a global pandemic, and let's be honest, we have all changed. It is time to acknowledge that, accept it, and start a new era of being our best selves without killing ourselves by getting off of the hamster wheel. We can still be our same awesome, ambitious, kick-ass selves while not buying into the BS of the hustle. I have found a new way, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's start healing the hustle. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Jessica Butts, your host of the Front Seat Life podcast and this Healing the Hustle series. And we're coming to the end. I'm going to be wrapping this up in the next 2 episodes. So this is the second to the last episode of the Healing the Hustle series. And June 4th, I'm going to be doing a 10-year anniversary special. So here's what's up. When I first started this, I said, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how long it's going to go. It might be 3 episodes or 2 months or 4 months. I had no idea. And I also promised you that I was going to talk about codependency today, and I don't want to. This is why I have changed my team up. This is why I am continuing to be unapologetically who I am, why I'm continuing to change my business and do it the way I want to do it, because I have learned in my 47 years and my 10 years in business that I got to do it the way I want to do it. I am not a pre-planner. I am a spontaneous person. I want to talk about what's up in the moment, and today's episode is the same. So for those of you who are dying for me to talk about codependency, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel like it. It was so funny this morning. I mean, obviously this was on my to-do list today, and I just kept saying, I was like, I just don't wanna. And as you know, intuitives, we don't like to be told what to do, even by ourselves. So that is actually really funny to think about, that I, as an intuitive, if you're an intuitive, we do not like to be told what to do. We actually don't like following recipes. We don't like 9-to-5 jobs for that reason. We just don't like to be told what to do. And what I just realized in saying this is we don't even like ourselves to tell us what to do. Like, I don't even like my own limitations. So I'm actually taking that to a whole nother level this week of like, I don't want to do what I said I was going to do. I want to talk about some different stuff. So let me just do a quick reminder of kind of what we've been talking about and what's coming. So I've got this book completely outlined. I'm probably a quarter of the way done writing it. And there's so much juicy stuff in there. And again, when I first started this, I thought, I don't know how to translate kind of all of that content into this podcast. So as I'm writing it throughout this summer, I'm going to take a break from the podcast again. So this is why I'm doing series, and I have learned that this is what works best for me. So I will be wrapping up this series in the last 2 episodes, and then I'm going to be writing a ton this summer and also just enjoying summer, seeing my private clients, running my groups, doing all the things that I love to do. And then I will be back with a new series. I've been talking about this series for a long time, and then Healing the Hustle kind of overrode that. So I will be back in August or September at the latest, to talk about the Front Seat 16. Which is having guests of each type on and really diving back into personality type in a way that you can hear it from other people. So I think I'm going to bring some couples on, and bring on one of the 16 different types and be really educating you on what type looks like. Because I have been reminded over the last, month or so, specifically yesterday, I kind of graduated a couple from couples counseling, and then also had this really amazing conversation with Microsoft. I've spoke there at least 5 different times to them, and this group keeps bringing me back. And I'm so honored. But the couple ended yesterday, and they were saying the same thing as Microsoft, is that we've got so much out of this. We're in such a different place. Thank you so much. And one of the biggest things that we're taking away is our ability to understand ourselves and understand each other through type, through, a lot of other things I talk to people about. And it was just so refreshing and reassuring that this work is still that wonderful and amazing. And then to have this conversation with Microsoft and have them have me back again and basically say, we just want you to be like our, once a year kind of come in and speak to us, because we never get tired of hearing about it. We need refreshers. We need it to be reminded. So I'm honored on both ends. And this is my calling and what I'm excited to be doing with you ongoing. So let's talk a little bit more about healing the hustle and what we've been doing and who this is for. So this Healing the Hustle series is absolutely for the J personality types. So it's all, definitely the intuitives, because we're always thinking forward. But as I've also been reminded that SJs are probably more hustly and more bossing and more controlling actually than intuitives are, because they're the police. So if we're talking about the archetypes of the Js, they're NJs and SJs, and NJs are the entrepreneurs. So always looking forward, always hustling, always thinking about what's next. How can I better myself? How can I do bigger, better, what's next, ongoing, all the things that we're constantly thinking about, what books and podcasts and, oh my God, I've got this idea and our marriage could be better if we did this, all the things we're looking to do to improve ourselves, others, and the world. And SJs are the police. They are the ultimate controlling. It's my way or the highway. This is the way I think. You need to change diapers this way. This is how you load the dishwasher. It's very, very hard for them to relax. It's very hard for them to snuggle in bed for a long period of time. There's just not a lot of being able to chill and relax. I hear about this from a lot of couples that one of the partners, wants their partner, their SJ, typically partner, to just be able to lay in bed for hours and hours on a Sunday and just snuggle with them. And SJs have such a hard time with that. That's part of this hustle, is they can't, or they choose not to because they don't know a different way yet, which is what I want to teach people, is that there's always this mindset of I got to get up and do the laundry. I got to do this. I got to check in with it, right? There's always this external stuff of I got to do. And we Js, so let me run through the 8 types. So of the 16, half are Js. ENFJ, me, ESFJ, INFJ, ISFJ, ENTJ, ESTJ, INTJ, and ISTJ. If you are any of those 8, this is for you. And I've realized through just some self-reflection over the last month or so that all of the courses and groups and books and things that I have written have been for a subset of personality types. So my LU course and both of my books actually are very geared towards intuitive types, which are also half of the population. Well, that's not true. 25% of the population, but half of the types. My first book is really just more about understanding it and being unapologetically who you are. It is more of a life-focused book, and really just talking about type in general, that there are no right or wrong types. It's just truly about being unapologetically who we are and then loving each other for who each other is. This is one of the biggest things I do in couples relationships is you're just not going to change that person. Stop trying. This is who they innately are. You've got to just accept them for who they are. Because that's what we want, right? We want to be accepted for who we are. And then I've also created Don't Do Stuff You Suck At, which is obviously a book and a brilliant freaking course that I'm so freaking proud of. And that is for entrepreneurs in general, which are mostly NJs, but also a lot of NPs. I've also created Stop Squirreling, which are for the Ps in particular. So all of these different courses and books and groups that I have created are really for these different subsets to strengthen and deepen our learning about all of these different facets of personality type. And to me, that is so important. And again, I think the universe and God just is giving me these loving reminders of how important this is. Actually, get me choked up. Yesterday just felt like so much validation of this is such an important piece in our work life. You know, Microsoft was talking about that, about being able to show up in your business, and be who you are and go to your manager and say, hey, I am really great at these things and I'm not great at these things, and not pretending, because we all want to get the best out of each other. Or in your relationship, just going in and saying, nobody's perfect. Here's what I'm great at. Here are my warts. Here's the stuff that I'm going to suck at. Let's negotiate this and be a team and get through life together. In entrepreneurship, I mean, truly, obviously the name of it is don't do stuff you suck at. This is not about trying to be well-rounded and being good at everything. Like, we have got to understand our strengths and our weaknesses. And so all of these courses, are to help that. So this is what we've been talking about in Healing the Hustle as well. So there's been 4 stages thus far. The first has been I've been identifying this hole in our bucket, why we're hustling. So this goes back to all of the personality type we've been talking about, and the nurture. So that's the nature. And then the nurture is the patriarchy and all, you know, just the crazy social media world that we live in. And then we spent a period of time, a couple episodes, talking about repairing this hole in the bucket. It is not an external job. It is an internal job. And now what we've been talking about, and we'll be wrapping up in the next couple of episodes, is filling your bucket the right way. And again, this is not an external thing. So that's what I want to talk about today specifically, is 2 main things, which are, number 1, being Soulfish AF, being selfish as fuck. And one of the wonderful, her name is Judy. I'm just obsessed with her. She's just sassy and wonderful and a fellow ENFJ. And every time I think about her, I have wonderful thoughts. She came up with this name because I don't love self-care. I don't know. It's so overused, right? And I don't love the word selfish because I think people have a really bad connotation with it, although I think it's fine. And so during one of my, actually the Front Seat Life event a couple of years ago before COVID, she came up with the word soulfish, and we all just became obsessed with it. So it's a thing in the front seat world now as we talk about being soulfish. And part of being Soulfish AF will be coming in the book and summer school if you so choose to come along. I'm actually going to talk a bit about it next week's episode too, in the very last episode. But I'm only going to talk about one of the things, just to keep this as simple as possible, is this idea of being Soulfish AF in terms of having a soul care team. Having a soul care team. So before we jump into what a soul care team is and what it may be, let's talk about the bad parts, about what it's probably not. And likely the people that you may think are your soul care team may very well not be your soul care team. So I have a lot of clients over the years that don't have like-minded people in their lives. They don't have a soul care team. And that we think would be our lifelong friends, potentially college friends, people that are maybe even in our industry. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of this, or our spouse or our partners, or again, these long-term friends that we may have had for years and years and years. And we wonder why we get together with them and feel empty. And we feel isolated, and we feel confused about why we're not connecting. And it's probably because 2 things. 1, you've evolved as a human being, which I hope to God you have. And number 2, they may just not be innately where you are in your life as well. So here's a couple examples to help this. So 1 is my mom, And I talk about my mom a lot on this podcast because we've worked really, really hard to have an amazing, wonderful relationship. We're both total J's. We're both hustlers. She's an ESF/TJ, and I'm a hard ENFJ. And where we differ is the S and the N. She is definitely someone who thinks it's, her way or the highway. God bless you, Mom. And I am obviously someone who thinks outside the box and creative and wants to do it my own way and basically don't boss me around, don't tell me what to do. So you can imagine the conflict immediately that comes from that relationship. But we're both super, super strong J's. And so I actually don't talk about my business very much with her. And I would consider her on my soul care team in terms of somebody that loves me very much. And I love her very much. And we have a ton of fun together and we spend time together. But if I am thinking about someone who really gets what I do and what I am doing in this world and writing books and doing podcasts and those kinds of things, I would say, and she would too, that she is not necessarily part of that soul care team because she just doesn't really get it. And that's okay. And that's okay. There's not a judgment about it. I mean, she's even said it. My dad's even said it. Like, I just don't really get what you do. And that's okay. We get to have a different relationship. Here's another example is when I first graduated from graduate school, I went out searching for my people and networking groups and, where to meet people. So I joined a bunch of therapy groups and I just felt like I didn't belong. I didn't understand them. They didn't get me. We just didn't get each other. I just felt very small, if I'm being honest. Like, it just felt like they wanted to talk about like how appropriately to take notes during sessions. And I was like, really? Is this what we're going to talk about? Like, we're not going to change the fucking world sitting around talking about insurance and how to take notes. I mean, God, like, if we think bigger than this. And so I just felt super weird, like I didn't belong. And I'm guessing you're listening right now. You might be feeling this in a friend group, with a partner, with your family. And again, this is okay. We just have to fucking do something about it. We got to do something about it. So during that period of time, I was clearly like, okay, these are not my people. And I probably spent at least 6 months kind of like trying to shove a square peg into a round hole and was like, this is not working. So I then heard about this group called E-Women, Entrepreneurial Women. And I thought, okay, maybe these are my people. I'm going to go check it out. Immediately, I felt at home. I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt validated. I felt like I belonged. Like I had a somatic response. Like my body relaxed into it. And I was like, I'm home. These are my people. And I spent years and years in that group. And actually 2 of my very best friends to date, I met in that group. I mean, they're my dearest, dearest friends. And we were together just last week, and I had a moment where I was like, wow, these people are from that soul care team. So when I started way back 10 years ago, this is when I met these people 10 years ago. That was probably, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I met these people, and they are not my college friends. They are not, one of them's retired now, right? They don't even work anymore. But these are the people that become part of your soul care team. I also have 2 other examples. I've had a lifelong business for the last 10 years, since I graduated from grad school. And then I went to business school in New York. I met this woman. She lives in Canada. Her name is Denise, and she has been my accountability partner for that entire time. We hardly ever see each other. We do make some efforts, but during COVID, she literally lives in another country. But she's part of my soul care team. Like when I am losing my shit in my business, or I am freaking out about something, she is somebody that I would reach out to, versus some of what I would say are very dear friends of mine. Even these other two women, now that one's retired, I wouldn't reach out because those were in a different place. I have a soul care team that gets me and where I am at. It could end up being lifelong friends, but it could also just be a moment in time. And we have to go looking for those people. Because I also have a small mastermind group, and one of them just lives here in Seattle, and we hardly ever see each other just because we're both so busy, and she's got a family, but we talk on Marco Polo almost every single day because we are so at the same place in our businesses and launching, and we are each other's soul care team, where people in her life may not get what she's going through, just as people in my life may not get what I'm going through. And this is why we have to seek out this soul care team, these like-minded people. So whether soul care to you is massages or facials, today I'm getting a pedicure and I'm going to just enjoy every single second of it. And I swear to God, I look at this woman and I think, you are part of my soul care team. Like, I have deep admiration for her because she takes care of my soul. We don't talk to each other. She is unbelievably delightful. And we just have this like mutual, I think, appreciation for one another. I'm a great client and she is amazing in helping me. But going a little bit deeper, right? The soul care are people who get you. They may be intuitive types. They may very well be these J's. I mean, I have P's in my life that we just don't get each other. I mean, I'm just like, they're just buzzing through life and chilling, and they've never been hustling. They're just kind of surviving and living 5 minutes in front of their face. And I'm like, my God, it would be amazing to be like that. But my soul care team, I need them to get me, and I need to get my soul care team, because we can then talk at a much, much, much deeper level. We can talk at a soul level. And I have a lot of friends. I'm a total extrovert. I have a lot of groups of friends. And I'll be honest, I've got a group of friends right now that we are at completely different places in our life. Thank God we were all on, I always say, the right side of the election, but that doesn't mean the right, it means the left. So we were on the correct side of, Biden supporters, and we believe, all the same political beliefs, but we have very, very different lives. We have very different lives. And sometimes I go to these, and I've told them this, so if they're listening, they're not going to be surprised. We've had this conversation that I don't feel gotten. I don't feel seen. I sometimes don't feel heard. And I'll be honest, sometimes I leave those feeling a little lonely because I have experienced a feeling of sadness, of being with people I love very much, that will be lifelong friends. I do believe that, but we're just not at a place right now where we have a lot in common, where I can go to this, my mastermind group that I never see, and be seen and heard and gotten. In fact, I just sent a message to one of the women in my mastermind, and just said, thank you. I was like, this Marco Polo is only to say thank you for seeing me and letting me cry and letting me bitch and letting me be a mess, and for you to be authentic and for me to be authentic, and just be able to share like real stuff, because we are at such different phases of our lives. So today's episode was really about that. A little bit of a reminder, letting you know where we're going. This is all about being unapologetically who we are. But if you are feeling, like you need a soul care team, I encourage you to seek it out. And quite honestly, it may be with me. It may be with somebody else. You may need two different things. I don't know. You may need a therapist and a coach, or an entrepreneur group, or, healing the hustle, or the front seat life, whatever it is. I just want you to feel heard, seen, loved, and validated in your life. And I know part of healing the hustle is absolutely having people who get us, because otherwise we have these feelings of depression and anxiety and shame and isolation, I would say, is a huge one of people just don't get us. My very, very dear, wonderful, longtime friend, and even worked for me for a while, Stacey Sorgen, she started this amazing podcast called The Anxious Entrepreneur, and talk about being like heard, seen, and validated. And she is just being super transparent about her experiences as an entrepreneur that suffers from anxiety. And she's super obviously honest about it. That's the name of it. And I just applaud her so much because her honesty allows people that are also feeling similar things to be able to come in. I would consider her podcast a soul care part of your soul care team. I pray and hope that this podcast is part of your soul care team. I pray and hope that, Healing the Hustle Summer School may be part of that for you if that's what it feels like, or getting into the Front Seat Life group, whatever it is for you, but finding people that truly, truly get you, because there is no better feeling and no better way to heal the hustle than to absolutely be unapologetically who we are. It's making me tear up. There is no better feeling than being able to show up, be unapologetically who we are, and have people get us. So I'm now crying, which means I'm going to start sniffling a bunch. So I think this is where I will end today's episode. And my friends, this is about filling our bucket a new way of not feeling isolated and not feeling unseen and not feeling, just not gotten. That is so much part of the hustle. And I mean, there's a lot we've been talking about and identifying it and repairing it and feeling it. And next week we will be wrapping up this series. Summer school closes today. So this episode is going live on Friday. It is done today. If you're being called, if you've been questioning it, I pray that you will follow your intuition and come find your people, because it may not just be 8 weeks for you. It may end up completely changing your life, and you'll find friends that will forever, ever be part of your life, as I did so many years ago. All right, loves. Happy Friday. I will see you next week. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, you can find out all about that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.